Not all presidents were created equal. Some presidents pass laws and legislation that lasts a few years, only to be replaced by something else. Others pass legislation that lasts an entire lifetime, or multiple lifetimes. Now, one of the most impactful presidents that has ever lived was FDR. He took over America during a difficult time after the Great Depression, and helped to rebuild America with his New Deal. But was the New Deal such a great thing? Most history books, high school teachers, and college professors argue that FDR was one of the greatest presidents that ever lived. I want to give you a glimpse of a different point of view. It is my viewpoint that FDR's New Deal hurt America in multiple ways. The three things that I think have the biggest negative impact on today's society was the FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, Social Security, and welfare. The FHA was established to help poor people, stabilize the economy, and help creditors have more faith in giving out loans, not fearing that they would lose the money that they lent out. According to the Census Bureau, homeownership rates would rise under the FHA from 43.6% in 1940 to 61.9% in 1960. That's almost a 20% increase in homeownership rates over a 20-year time period. Prior to the establishment of the FHA, mortgages would be typically 3 to 5 years and would require someone to put 50% down. Mortgages would act where every month you would pay off the interest, and after the loan period, whether it's 3 to 5 years, you would pay off the other half of the mortgage. It's interesting to see how mortgages have evolved to today's standards, where people now only put 0 to 6% down, rather than the 50% down back in the 1920s. The problem with this is essentially it takes money from each generation. It's like a giant Ponzi scheme where each generation has to pay more money for the same house, largely because of financing. Today, we have 30-year mortgages rather than the 3 to 5 year mortgages of yesteryear. And that's not even becoming enough. People can barely afford those. And in some cases, we're taking out things such as jumbo mortgages to take out absurd amounts of invisible money so that we can compete with our neighbors who are doing the exact same thing. The second major impact that FDR had was the establishing of Social Security. One of the big issues that we're facing in America is that medicine has helped people live much longer than they did during the 1920s, 1930s. This, of course, has resulted in us having to pay more benefits in retirement in the form of Social Security. The population demographics between 1950 and 2015 show a massive change in society, an aging society. In 1950, only 12.6% of the population was over the age of 60. In 2015, that number has since grown to 20.7%. And for the next 8 years, it will continue to grow larger and larger every single year as more baby boomers are entering retirement. The problem is that as this burden becomes higher at the top of the pyramid, it is becoming increasingly difficult to financially support these programs and the benefits that they promised. Now, for those of you who don't understand Social Security is collected as a tax from the government. The government takes these taxes, and anything that isn't used to pay off the benefits is put into a trust fund. The problem is that this trust fund is starting to run out of money. It is estimated that this trust fund will run out of money in 2034. Some people have the idea that this is when Social Security ends, that we no longer have it, but that's not true. It just means that we're going to need to have a massive reduction in benefits in order to support the program. But is that really fair? Is it really fair for millennials to be taxed multiple times more than what their grandparents and parents paid into the system to have significantly less benefits? That seems like a pretty bad deal, not a new deal. Welfare runs on a similar principle to Social Security. Again, a population pyramid. Except for this time, it's not about young people helping to supplement old people. It's about rich people helping to supplement poor people. America is like one giant cart. In the beginning, when welfare was established, maybe 95 people were pulling a cart and 5 people were inside the cart. However, as time has moved on, we've seen more and more people get in the cart. The problem is, at what point does this program no longer financially work because there are too many people in the cart? There are too many people collecting benefits. Now, I think a bigger issue is to focus on the dependency that Social Security and welfare create. And when these programs are going to be slashed by the government because the government runs out of money, what are people going to do that are dependent upon these programs? Did FDR know that his New Deal would have such major ramifications in the future? Was it a way for him to just bail out his own generation and leave future generations to deal with problems? Or was this just a case of bad luck? Some might argue that although FDR's New Deal might have a negative impact today, that it is largely more negatively impactful because people refused to change it and move away from it and say, hey, this doesn't work anymore, or we need to modify it. Was FDR one of the worst presidents that ever lived? Or was he just a guy who got caught in a situation that during his time, he did something that was good and had no idea what was in store for the future? I'll let you decide. Thank you for looking at this video. I'll see you next time. Thanks for checking out my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. New videos will be uploaded every Monday and Friday. Thank you for your support.